Liz Collin from Alpha News. She is an investigative reporter there. And the last time we had her on, she was telling us about this new confrontation, or at the time it was a new confrontation, that she had with a member. Now, folks remember this. This is all about Derek Chauvin, George Floyd, all of these cases, and something that occurred at the case itself. Well, she confronted a member of law enforcement there and got up in her face and asked a few questions. Let's play that clip right now.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Yeah, actually, I have a few questions for you. Are you aware that 14 former and current Minneapolis police officers say you lied during Derek Chauvin's trial and perjured yourself? What's the truth here? I'd like to talk to you about the lawsuit you filed against myself and Alpha News. 34 police officers have come forward to say that MRT was trained by the Minneapolis Police Department. I've been trying to get in touch with you. You have obviously declined my interview request. Don't you think people deserve the truth?
Well, Liz Collin was later sued by Katie Blackwell. The court just ruled. Liz joins us now. Liz, what's the update in the case?
Yeah, Jack, thanks for having me back on. Well, we are relieved to put this behind us. Earlier this week, we got the judgment, and Judge Wall ruled in our favor, dismissed what our attorney has referred to as a garbage lawsuit that was filed in the first place over the fall of Minneapolis. In my book, They're Lying, the Media, the Left, and the Death of George Floyd. That lawsuit was filed by now Assistant Police Chief Katie Blackwell. She is the person who one of the members of law enforcement that took the stand in Derek Chauvin's trial to say that the technique that Derek and the other officers were doing with George Floyd was not trained by the Minneapolis Police Department. We put that clip under great scrutiny in the documentary itself, and dedicated a couple pages of the book to that as well. And Judge Wall ultimately dismissed the lawsuit against us. And, you know, it's kind of interesting how it's been spun a bit by the mainstream media here in Minnesota. They're saying, you know, this was free speech, so this is why the judge went ahead and dismissed the lawsuit. But in fact, we passed the substantial truth test. I was just going to read part of the order, but under these facts, it is possible to interpret Blackwell's testimony as incomplete or misleading by omission. Judge Wall went to great care in his 58-page ruling in all of this, 10 different points that actually question the truthfulness of Katie Blackwell's testimony in Chauvin's trial. So I think in many ways there's going to be much more to come here, Jack.
So when you're talking about this being a legitimate or a truthful interpretation, let's be very clear. We're talking about the training of the use of the knee restraint that Derek Chauvin used on George Floyd in that, of course, infamous video that everyone, I'm sure, in the world has seen at this point. When Katie Blackwell testified, she at the time was the training commander. So all training that was received by the Minneapolis Police Department was overseen by her. And she testified that was, I believe she said, it was not familiar to her, the knee restraint that was used. And yet, of course, Chauvin's argument and his lawyers argued that this was, in fact, exactly how he had been trained to restrain a suspect when they were acting the way that George Floyd was. And so basically, I guess that what the court is ruling here is that there's a degree of truth to what you said. Now, that being the case, then, is this something that is this something that Chauvin himself could use in a potential, and obviously he is filing appeals, is this a ruling that he could then use in his favor?
Yes, absolutely. We've already been in touch with Derek Chauvin's attorney. Greg Joseph is representing him in his state appeal, and he plans to use these declarations. So keep in mind, we have 34 police officers as part of our case that have said this is exactly how we trained. We used MRT. 14 of them said that Katie Blackwell perjured herself in his trial. And these are sworn court declarations that Greg Joseph intends to use for Derek Chauvin's trial. But we had about 50 people in all come forward and do declarations on behalf of Alpha News for our case. We're obviously grateful to all of them. It's sometimes a tough go here in Minnesota, Jack. I know you know that well, but it does seem that perhaps a little bit more every day, that the truth is being told and perhaps more accepted now than ever before. Keep in mind, the book, the documentary, this was not covered at all by the mainstream media in Minnesota, but they were very quick to jump and cover on the fact that we were being sued, so almost cheering this lawsuit on in a way. But it's quite interesting how no one has yet to ask the assistant police chief, again, in Minnesota's largest city, if she lied in the most high-profile hearing, court proceeding in Minnesota history, essentially, and what does that mean to the job that she currently has. So we'll continue, of course, to follow it here at Alpha News, but also keep in mind this should question the tactics, the techniques used by the prosecution in Chauvin's trial as well, led by Attorney General Keith Ellison. So I think there's more to come.
Liz, is this something that that Chauvin himself could potentially use as grounds for a new trial?
Absolutely. This is already part of, we're aware of it being part of filings as part of his state appeal. And that, it sounds like, will be in November at this point, at last check. Also, just to remind your viewers who have followed this very closely, Derek Chauvin was stabbed 22 times in prison, and it's been 6 different times at this point that trial has been delayed. The person responsible for attempted murder has yet to face trial for that incident in prison. So
do we even know where this guy is, by the way?
Well, that's what's interesting. Still, no. The only answer is that the Federal Bureau of Prisons, he's not in their custody. But that is all that's listed publicly. It's really crazy.
I want to say congratulations to you, Liz Collin, and to anybody out there. Don't mess with Liz Collin. She's going to court. You're going to take her to court. You're going to lose. You're going to lose every time because she operates on the basis of the facts, follows the truth wherever it leads. And so this is where she goes. And so if you're going to come at her, you need to have a set of facts that are better than the ones that she already has, because that's what she takes the time to do. Liz, where can people go to watch the documentary that's now got a court order that has met the standard of truth, and to get the book?
Well, I appreciate the kind words. I also want to give props to our attorney, Chris Maddle, and his team. Talk about a bulldog. Was really something to see in court. Don't mess with that guy. But thefallofminneapolis.com and alphanews.org, you'll find everything right there.